Okay guys, here's the install video for the LCD. I've removed the battery connector from the board just by gripping firmly as low as you can and giving it a little wiggle. Okay, don't pull by the wires. Try to grip it as low as you can. Okay, that'll keep you from pulling a wire out of the JST connector right there. So I'm going to use my little impact angel here. Okay, I've removed the trigger frame just to make the video a little easier. I do recommend doing that this one time to install the battery harness. So we're going to take the switch here, we're going to feed it up through the body panel and push the Noid wire out of the way. I'm going to feed the switch in. It should fit perfectly and it will come right out the back there. See that? Okay. Can't believe my demo video worked on the first try. The switch is threaded, matches the thread on the LCD backplate. You're just going to thread that on there, okay, and then line it up and install your backplate like you normally would with your spring and your pin and everything. Okay, I got specifically the switches with the recess switch, the shorter throw, and the reason I did that is it's real tight on the LCD, which is what I like, but on the speeds and the later versions that have the little cover that comes down that covers up the switch well, if you use the switch with the longer pole on it, they don't close and you have to trim it. So I went with the shorter switch for everybody. I hope that works well. Okay, so that's how you install the battery harness. The board itself, we're going to drop in nicely, okay? And what I like to do is install the bottom screw first. So I'm going to install bottom screw with your standard board screws, okay? And I like to leave it a little loose, okay? This way we can position the top of the board and then we're going to come back and tighten that screw up, okay? So then up. Try not to drop your screw on the board. Going to install the top screw, and I'm going to install this one loose also. Just barely loose. So you can see I can still move the board. Okay? Now I'm going to look at my switch position here. And I want the board to obviously activate the way you want your trigger. And you should be able to hear the micro switch activate, okay, when it's in the position. For this one, the way I have the trigger adjusted, I want the board almost as far forward as it'll go based on that little oval up at the top. That's what lets you fine tune that position. Then I'm going to come back holding that board in place the way I want it, and I'm going to tighten up that top screw. Okay, and you can actually go pretty tight on this. The PCB, the board itself, is pretty strong in the compression direction. Now I'm going to double check my trigger. Yep, that's right where I like it, okay? So I'm going to make sure that's nice and tight. Then I'm going to come back, keeping an eye on the board, making sure it doesn't move. I'm going to tighten up that bottom one. And I'm going to make sure it's good, okay? If you notice, we use the standard angel buttons. I actually forgot to put one in for just the bottom two buttons, okay? The top one can stay open. On single trigger frames, you may need to shave down the button a hair to, just like you have to do with the PM7 mods, to get the 9-volt battery in. If you put your 9-volt battery in and it puts too much pressure and it compresses the button, just sand down the back of the button a little bit and it will fit right in. Okay, you can leave the top hole empty. There's a connector for the OLED right behind it, so you shouldn't worry about getting anything in there. You can put a dummy button in there if you want to, but you don't need to. And your LED will show right through here if you have the battery cover removed. Okay? And your board is now fully installed.